Curry is probably one of the sole reasons that that we are here. He's helped craft and structure the story for the past 7 years now.
Right. Okay.
And he's here not only supporting Clockwork Watch, but he's here with his own titles, Deadlier Than and Magic of Myths.
Okay.
Which are two books that are even older than Clockwork Watch.
So how did the whole project come about when you first started? Who came up with the? Was it you came up with the idea, Corey, or
for Clockwork Watch specifically?
Yeah.
Well, not to step on Yomi's toes or anything like that, but Yomi's had the Clockwork Watch floating around long before I was on the scene, and it just so happened that he was looking for someone to help out to develop what was originally a screenplay. Correct me if I'm wrong, and into a comic book.
Yeah.
And he got in touch with a mutual friend of ours, Matt Gibbs, who works for Improper Books, and Matt Gibbs put Yomi in touch with me, who had been working on Magic and Myths for a period of time with my artist partner Sergio Calvet, and we got together and started working on developing Clockwork Watch as a comic book property as opposed to a film property.
Right.
So from that point onwards, it started to snowball a little bit more because I was helping adapting his original screenplays into comic book scripts, and after that point, Yomi had developed his own style for comic books and wanted to actually go into that full time himself. So he started creating his own comic books, and I was editing them after that point.
Right, but it's progressed from comic book. I mean, you started as a film project, and now it's going, and you've got a whole plan to conquer the universe, haven't you, between you? Let's be honest. I mean, you've been to San Diego. You've got interest from people who want to turn it into all sorts of things.
Well, what was initially a film, then became one comic book, and then became 3 comic books, and now it's become 7 published comic books with, we believe, no short of, as the story develops, because we've now started adapting parts of the film script into the story, because initially the story itself, the comic books are meant to be a prequel to the story, more or less building the story world, where the story in the film is a man is forbidden from falling in love with a woman, and the comic books are meant to crowdsource the reasons why the man is forbidden from falling in love with this woman.
Right, because you work quite closely with your followers, and they sort of like throw in ideas, and you pick the best ones, and then that becomes part of the canon. Tapestry.
So we're crowdsourcing the reasons why this man is forbidden from falling in love with a woman, but people don't quite know the depth of this particular narrative, because the woman itself happens to be an automaton. And if you have a humanoid automaton that's almost as real to life as a human being, there have to be certain ground rules, not Asimov style, but even way beyond that, societal pressures. And we're crowdsourcing through the public the reasons why this man is forbidden from falling in love. Right. But what we then did, which was weird, is we had the graphic novels introducing or leading up to the film, but then I had no history, no records, and no background in graphic novels apart from tagging on to coattails of Corey. But then I had an experience.
He admits it, Corey.
I will hold it over him forevermore.
But then we also, I had a history of hosting immersive theatre.
Yes.
So we then decided, as a launch pad, without any budget whatsoever, to host an immersive theatrical event. Went on for about 9 hours, where people can actually get to meet the characters, interact with the characters. The characters take you deeper into the story, so that when you buy the book, you have a certain amount of background, but that background is unique to you, because you were at the event. We then encourage people to go online, write an account of what they experienced, and we've been publishing those as newspaper articles to help segue in between the books and the years.
I've seen in the latest issue, which is fantastic. A wonderful little snapshot of everything you're doing, perfectly captured.
So with each book you do have a signpost guiding you through all the background, so you can read up on what, in some cases, what you're about to read or what you've read, because it gives a certain amount, sheds a light on things that you may have missed.
So with events like the Lakes Festival where we are now, people come along, they may pick up the first book, or they might pick up the last book, but they can catch up, trace you online and buy more books and also find out about the whole experience, which is quite exciting in itself.
Yes.
So and I assume that because of the concept, that sort of there is like a steampunk element you've punched into that whole culture of following. Is that you've got
yes, absolutely. We've got quite a lot of followers. We've got followers in the UK, beautifully done through some of the live events and in big theatrical sort of steampunk events. We also have a decent following out in the US, because for the past 5 years, Corey and I have gone to Comic-Con in San Diego, and they have a big following there. The Gaslamp steampunk people, as well as the Starburner courier service, who host these amazing events. And a few years ago, in 2014, we were awarded the Starburner Courier Service Award out there for bringing steampunk around the world and stuff. So we've been inducted into the American scene.
Fantastic. That's
so
that must be a bit overawing as well. I mean, obviously you've got that plan to sort of, and you've got hopes for that sort of stuff. But what sort of reaction when you get that sort of thing, that sort of acclaim? Is it a bit?
And it was pretty spectacular. I mean, for me, I didn't actually know anything was happening at the time. I didn't know much about the Starburner thing in itself. And Yomi went away during that particular day when the award was presented to him, and he came back down, and he was a little bit flabbergasted. And Yomi is very effervescent and obviously very loquacious, and he was speechless. He didn't know what to say, and I was like, "What's happened? Is everything okay?" And he was like, "I've just been awarded this," and he showed me the Starburner award, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, what is it? What exactly is it?" And he was just like, "It's like recognition for bringing steampunk to like a wider audience," and I was like, "Oh, wow, okay." And I didn't know what to say.
No. So obviously it's getting busy in here. It's a busy festival.
Yeah.
You've had a good weekend.
Yeah.
What's next for the whole project? You've just had a book launch. You've just brought a book out, which you sent me, which I haven't accepted on Twitter, which is just dreadful of me. And I'm going into the steampunk cell, but as you know, I do try and sort of plug it in different ways. But
what's next? We've got a new book out next year, which is going to be books. Possibly, I kind of feel they're two books in one. Books 8 and 9. One, Are You My Angel, and the other is Sins of My Father, which follow the story on. And for the very first time, we're introducing two characters from the actual film. We have decided that instead, and this is divine wisdom from someone out in America, we have a choice of running around with a film script, trying to get the work done, and gridlocking on the books, or we can adapt the screenplay into graphic novels and carry on telling our story, which will show it has longevity and has depth. And then hopefully someone's going to come along and give us a shed load of money and tell us that the Asian characters in the film are now Vikings.
That will happen. There must be that. Obviously, you've spent a long time working on this project, and there's always that concern that when a film company along, they're going to want to change things. You're just going to accept. That's something you have to accept as a part of a different medium and approach. Worried about it?
Me personally, I always say that if there's a certain amount of integrity that you have to keep with the core of the property, and there's obviously always some sort of variation or changes that are made because the mediums are always going to be different between them. Yeah. So there is that level of, you can't be too kind of clingy and precious about it. At the same time, Clockwork Watch isn't Clockwork Watch unless it has a certain type of tropes and certain things and certain types of characters within the property that exist there. So obviously we want to make sure that we reach as wide an audience as possible, but at the same time we want to make sure that this is definitively Clockwork Watch no matter what medium it's in. And if it's not Clockwork Watch, then the audience won't want to know about it. So we want to make sure that we stay true to the roots of what it is.
Well, the very best of luck to you both. I know you've got big plans. You're incredible guys. You really worked really hard on this project, so the best of luck to you both. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.